Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a game and a shoutcast here on RSL Frost. Live spawning as the blue Zerg player on the top right hand side of the map. Meanwhile, we have MMA spawning as the red Terran. Yes, was able to find a couple of great replays for you. This is, I believe, a best of 5 series, but I don't know if I'll be able to cast all of them today as, well, trying to set up RAID hard drives large enough to encode everything and do everything does get rather expensive, so record at 30 frames a second, but that's all technical issues for me and nothing for you. Let's take a look over here. We can see live spawning as the blue Zerg on the top right hand side of the map. This is what I'll call the 1 or 2 o'clock position. Meanwhile, MMA spawning as the red Terran player on the bottom right. You can see that I have gone back to the streamlined interface just because it's easier to keep track of what's going on over here on the top right hand side of the map. Also, I did email a suggestion to Blizzard to make it so that the mouse over effects here, so you can actually see the movement speed and the attack and range upgrades, as it's very difficult to figure out if a Colossus or a Hydralisk has those speed upgrades. Trying to determine the winner of a battle without knowing all of those key details does throw a wrench in the works. Now, this is my first time casting on RSL Frost, so let's take a look at it. Natural expansion here. This is a 4-player map, obviously, and it looks like it is going to be a command center first and a hatchery first, so both of these players playing rather aggressively. Now, one thing to note about this map, though, is that there is a number of routes to get inside your opponent's base. You can see that there's a set of destructible rocks right over here that go down the ramp that lead to a common center ground, and I do like the fact that there is no giant Zelnaga tower in the center. That is not something that we see, and the third base is actually going to be a little bit more tucked away here. Basically, you have 2 options for a third base. You can either expand here or here, depending on where your opponent is, and it looks like they will be expanding to the back, and we should be seeing that momentarily. However, there is some high ground antics that can be exploited off over here. Siege tanks could be cliffed up right along here alongside a bunch of Marines and Marauders to help protect, and this third base could get pummeled. Or you can try to expand towards your opponent, and this is rather risky as well. There's a lot of room to maneuver behind these mineral patches. Marines can come in here and do a lot of damage. Life, he has seen that there is the command center right off over here. Meanwhile, MMA has yet to do any scouting whatsoever, as we now see a bunker being placed down at what I'll call this front door choke point. We should see an upgrade to an orbital command as well, as things do get underway, and this map is throwing me a little bit for a loop, just trying to figure out where everything is. If the game does go long, we may actually see the left side of the map utilized or used, but up until then, unless it is a very long economic game, I think all the action will be happening here on the right, unless a player does try to set up some sort of ninja expansion. Now, we are looking to go into a reactor Hellion opening, as you can tell with the liftoff and the landing there. Oh, let's go ahead and another thing to notice, if you take a look, the supply depot is right, but if you swap it, the icons don't change for the gas. So yes, the Terran has a little ball of gas as opposed to a little canister of gas, and vice versa. Anyways, Zerglings chasing after this SCV here. SCV will be running around and trying to get away. You can see the Zerglings are trying to slash apart this poor SCV. SCV could perhaps try to return home, but it looks like he wants to make sure and see if a third base is placed down. And will he spot it? That is going to be the key question. Yes, he does. He spots the third base, and that SCV can now die in peace, knowing that he spotted that third base. So far, we are going to be going into an additional command center here. There is the Reactor Hellion swap, as we are also going into a starport and an old-fashioned tech lab. This does mean that we should be going into Reactor Hellions with Banshee backup, and I am very curious as to the Banshee backup, how prevalent it will be. You can see that the bunker was able to take down a couple of easy Zerglings there. Double supply depot on the front. No more Zerglings are going to be able to run by. One poor Zergling does get picked off there, as the Marines do jump back inside. Alright, the SCVs will be heading back in as we are looking at 3 bases by both sides. Terran player is not going to be forced to lift off all that quickly. As we now pull up the production tab, a Banshee is being added on here. Are we going to see any research? No research from that tech lab. As we are looking at what double Hellions now being added on. All right, Hellions are going to be brought into play. How much damage are they going to look to deal? Where are they going to torch next? And how much damage can they really hope to do? You can see that the Hellbat mode hasn't been upgraded. I don't think it ever will be upgraded, as many Terran players just forego the Hellbat mode, as the Hellbat mode is not something that most Terran players want to spend a significant number of resources on. If you can train the Hellbat back at home without any problems, why don't you do exactly that? Meanwhile, an Overlord will fly by. Life does spot that there is a third orbital command coming into play. And what is going on? Are we going to be seeing a Banshee? Yes, we are. This is going to be a split pressure. And this Banshee flying straight up the middle may be able to get in and get off on quite a few easy shots here. The Queen is right there, but does not have enough for a transfuse, as we do see a Spore Crawler now being trained up. All right, you can see that the Banshee now trying to come in and engage. Oh, can get some easy damage here. Perhaps pick off some Zerglings. The Zerglings trying to surround all of these units here. The Queen's now trying to fight back as well, as this could be a very, very easy Queen damage. Oh, one Queen could get taken down. Another Queen still off over here, still trying to fight. What's going to be happening, as this Queen looks like it will get taken down. One Queen down. Life now running away with another Queen, but MMA is not controlling all of these Queens all that well, or these Hellions all that well. You can see more Hellions coming in to reinforce. There goes another Queen, while a number of Hellions are going down. This fighting on creep is rather dangerous. As you can see, this SCV is working overtime to try and repair all of these Hellions, and it looks like another Queen will get burnt to a crisp. There goes that poor SCV though. SCV being brought into the battle does do a bit of healing. The Banshee added a little bit of damage and also forced the Queen to try and take down the Banshee instead of those Hellions. We can see that that one Banshee was just that, a solo Banshee play. It wasn't a permanent strategy, as we are already now going into a reactor on the starport. We can see a lot of barracks being added. This is going to be MMA's bio style. Stim and combat shield now being researched. We can see another reactor being added. So it is going to be double tech labs, dual reactors off of 4 barracks. Going to be training up a lot of units there, as the SCVs are repairing once more, and MMA wants to move out. He has a very, very large number of units, but is he going to be able to do any damage with these Hellions? 9 Hellions rolling out onto the field, and these Hellions do look to deal a lot of damage. What are they going to be doing next? This Viking only got 2 kills, but still was able to clean up a number of Overlords, as we now have Life playing a little bit in the dark. Spire now coming into play in the background here. You can see that the Hellions are now backing away, trying to see if another base has been placed down. Meanwhile, MMA recently just established this expansion here. 16 SCVs already now being migrated over. Triple SCVs on gas, as you should, as the Roaches are now going to be able to push back here. Oh, take down that very, very vulnerable creep tumor, as the Hellions once again head back home. MMA on patrol. Meanwhile, a Banshee trying to get off more kills hasn't been able to do exactly that. You can see level 1 armor upgrades on the drones, but still not enough to really mitigate the damage from those backlash rockets of those Banshees, as we now are looking at a couple of Widow Mines. So Widow Mines being brought into position now. We can see the production tab very large for the Zerg, very small for the Terran, surprisingly, as the Terran MMA should have a lot more in production. Meanwhile, Zerg getting up Overseers, Overlords, Banelings, Queens, upgrades. He is maintaining a lot of things all at the same time, as the Roaches and the Zerglings are now backing off. Alright, this high ground location here, it could get scouted out. Viking now still on the lookout here. Is it going to really do anything at all, as the Zerglings are now being brought into position? Siege tanks could come around the backside here and then park themselves right on the high ground, but I believe the Overlords could spot up there pretty easily as well. Creep tumors now being brought up, going to be able to scout out that high ground, and no real chance there whatsoever. Alright, supply depots all over the place, missile turret in position. We are now going into the drilling claws for those Widow Mines. as the Widow Mines will be key in trying to get some serious map control. Now, so far, both of these players have really just been macroing and playing defensively. Even MMA, with a lot of harassment, has been doing only that, harassing. He hasn't gotten that many kills, and now his harassment attempts may get cleaned up as well. You can see that the Mutalisks are trying to go after all of those Hellions. There is a missile turret already in position. Those longboat missiles dealing a bit of damage there. I don't know if the auto-sec tracking has been researched. I can't tell, but my money is on no. Marines, Marauders, Hellions, Medevacs being brought forward again. You can see a drop now up onto the high ground, but there are creep tumors to spot this. Marines are now being brought in. Okay, there goes one creep tumor. There goes another. A third will go down as well, as the Widow Mine now burrowing itself there. There's a big hit there. 5 kills as the Spore Crawler can spot up on the high ground. If it has sight, don't ask me how. It just somehow all works together. Meanwhile, the Hellions still trying to push their way through, as 25% of the map now encased in creep tumors, and we are looking to see what will be the follow-up play. Double supply depots here, making sure that no Zerglings do run in, and we have this massive Marine Marauder Hellion Widow Mine siege tank army now making its way in. What are we going to be seeing here? You can see that the Zerglings, or a couple of units who did get hit there. There goes a Marauder. Mutalisk finishing off, as we now see a quick scanner sweep pulling everything back. We are now up to 200 supply, pretty much 201 over 200, and we are now going to be looking into a bit of aggression. All right, fighting into the game here. 2 workers just trying to get gas here. It looks like the hatchery will go down. Oh, yes, the hatchery does fall, but at what cost here, as the Marines and the Marauders are now all simply in full retreat. Widow Mines, the Zerglings coming around from the far side. However, that is a large number of Marines, 2 upgraded Marines, as the Widow Mines did do a little bit of cleanup there. All right, it's important to note that Life does not have enough, or he is really gas intensive, and he will want to be able to spend a lot more. Meanwhile, MMA, he could really look to get more gas here. Okay, I can't tell what attack he is using either. No, he is using the light attack there, as we are going to see the the command center now fall down. More Mutalisks being brought over. All right, there's the attack. Another SCV gets taken down. Are we going to see cancellations? Yes, finally canceling on one, but this may be too little too late, as this base is getting heavily pressured. Meanwhile, inside the 4th base here, both sides exchanging bases for bases, as SCVs now desperately trying to run back. There you go. 2 Mutalisks quickly going to get taken down. 3 of them taken down, as we are still looking at a very aggressive push here. Marines trying to come up. Drones getting destroyed, as the Thor is now being brought over. Mutalisks going straight up against the Thor. It is Magic Box, as the Marines are now trying to fight back. All of those Mutalisks are now looking to pull back, as there are roaches in here as well. MMA looks to be able to hold this if he burrows some Widow Mines. Not quite sure why he isn't burrowing. They're going to jump out of that bunker. Is the bunker going to get salvaged in time? No, it does not. It gets burned down. Meanwhile, Marines and Thors all fighting up. Is the Thor going to get picked up? No, it is not, as the Marines are now back inside. All right, looking very strong here. More bio coming up, as MMA looks to try to clean up the rest of this, dropping in once more. All right, what are we going to be seeing next? We now see Swarm Host. Banelings could be popping here at any second, as the Swarm Hosts are now in play. There's the Swarm Host now coming in. There's some hits there, as the Swarm Host is now spawning all of that Locust. All right, never very safe to try and do an engagement straight up on creep, as you can see here, all of those Zerglings surrounding so many Marines, and this is just looking very painful, as more Banelings will be able to find their target. Widow Mines pushing their way forward. A 20 supply advantage is all that stands between these two armies, as the Marines and the Marauders are now trying to push their way in here. It looks like the Queen will get taken down. We can see that there is a tech to tier 2 here, as the evolution chambers will now be destroyed. Marines are still upgraded to 2-2. Will be getting 3-3 momentarily. Overlords now being brought over. As you can see, Banelings getting canceled or destroyed before they hatch. Marauders and Marines still continuing the fight, as the Banelings are now making their way over as well. All right, Marauders, Marines, there's a lot of Mutalisks in the air. 15 Mutalisks, no, 13 Mutalisks in the air, as the Mutalisks are still just challenging all of these units back. We see a Congo line of units, and the home field advantage of reinforcing Zerglings and Mutalisks is enough for Life to hold off the attack, as Life is now establishing up a base here. However, it looks like this Viking will spot that base in just a second. There it goes. The Viking could try and land and take down a number of drones. It could do a bit of damage. Is it? Yes, it will, as it is going to try to clean up drones. So drones now taking a bit of damage there. The drones do deal a little bit of damage. And yes, with O2 armor, the Viking really wasn't dealing that much damage. All right, let's take a look. Marines, lots of them all together. More drones now being transferred over. Let's take a look at the income. Things are very, very good for Life. Life looking very strong at this point. He does have all of his tech in the back. It is not being challenged whatsoever. Meanwhile, this Mutalisk flock is just making their way over. Gonna take down an SCV as it tries to continue its push in here. Mutalisk now gonna be pulling back. And this is just not looking good for MMA. MMA just couldn't reach the point where he took enough of his advantage, drilled deep enough into Life. And now Life is, with enough life in him, will be able to start fighting back. You can see Marines up on the high ground here. 4 Marines, 1 medevac. Those Zerglings are going to be coming in, rushing straight through. Are they going to be able to fight back all of these units? The Marines are up against a corner, which is exactly where they want to be. All of those Zerglings unable to shoot or get their way in, as the last Marine does get picked up and perhaps will get dropped back down and healed again. All right, that Marine needs to worry about something. Nope, decides to just die for the cause, trying to shoot down a Zergling. MMA, during that opportunity, was able to establish up his expansion here, but he doesn't have any planetary fortresses out in play. This does concern me. Without planetary fortresses, Zergling run-bys are always problematic. You can see that there is really 2 operational mining bases for the Zerg. Meanwhile, 2 for the Terran, with nothing going on at these Vespene geysers. Marines now trying to engage again, as the Marines are still pushing back. Let's see, an Overseer does get taken down, and now we may see some creep tumors all getting destroyed as well. Oh wow, perfect scanner sweep just outside of range there, as the Zerglings and the Banelings are now making their way in. All right, medevac will get shot down. Are we going to see perhaps a root or a burrow here on those Widow Mines? No, we do not. As the Infestors are now going to be brought over. A beautiful fungal growth hitting a number of Terran units there. There's some more fungal growth as the Widow Mines are trying to burrow themselves, getting off some easy shots, and now their attack currently is on cooldown. Sensor tower being built right there. A very, very smart choice just to see what's going on all across the map. Double Widow Mines here. You got to be very careful about Widow Mines, as we now see Marines trying to do an engagement. Not very good at all. As you can see, Widow Mine just getting destroyed before anything could really happen. Another Widow Mine is back over here. Is it going to get off a shot? Yes, it does take down or damage a number of Marines as well. That Widow Mine actually doing more harm than good in that fight. As the Widow Mine's now looking to just sit there and perhaps pick off another free unit or 2. Spore Crawler will be done. It will reveal that Widow Mine. Meanwhile, a drop already in play here. MMA now trying to perhaps take down a number of key tech buildings, but this is not looking good. MMA is hitting a lot of drops everywhere, but this constant action from both of these players, very difficult for me to even theorize what's going to be happening later. So far, it looks as though MMA is still fighting his way back in. Life has enough life in him. Perhaps if he can just do a bit more damage. Supply depots will get taken down in the corner here. And if Life can perhaps choke out MMA, that should be enough. Zerglings, Mutalisk now coming in for the engagement. A beautiful Mutaling combination. And this is just absolutely perfect. This base will be falling down, and I believe MMA is in trouble. Mutalisk now making their way inside the main base, completely unchallenged at this point. Can take down a number of buildings. Medevacs now flying away as Marines are getting destroyed still. Alright, the Marines are now coming back around. The Mutalisk could just fly back up onto the high ground and easily pick off more buildings. Flying units just not having to traverse terrain. So powerful, as the Marines are just unable to catch up to these units. Alright, are we going to perhaps see... Oh, this could be an absolute trap here. Are we going to see it? Yes, a beautiful hit. So many Widow Mines. And wow, that was a beautiful play by MMA, knowing that the Marines would push the flock of Mutalisks back over there. A beautiful, beautiful play as we now see infested Terrans being brought forth. Alright, the infested Terrans are on hold position. Meanwhile, we can see perhaps another drop looking to come in here. There goes another Baneling now. And this play has just been absolutely beautiful to watch. Let's take a look at the losses. Zerg has lost more, which does make sense since he has mined more as well. Alright, Widow Mine. Are we going to see a root or a burrow on that Widow Mine? Activate the mine. Yes, it is going to go ahead and activate. There's the fungal growth. There's some infested Terrans. And there's the Widow Mine doing a little bit of splash damage. Why not? Alright, so it looks as though the medevac will get shot down here, but the main attack force still trying to clean up more of these units. And are we perhaps going to see a little bit more burrowing? We can see a couple of Widow Mines as we now see Zerglings running in again. Mutalisks trying to come in. There's some beautiful hits, finishing off a lot of Zerglings, but still more coming in from behind. 176 versus 157. In terms of war efficiency, I gotta hand it to MMA, as MMA may be able to snipe down a hatchery. This hatchery low on health. It does go down, and now all the units are back up inside. We are now down to one mining base apiece. And this is where I wonder, can you place siege tanks here to perhaps shoot on the far side here and take down the extractor or even any other buildings? You can see the infestors are now pulling back. Some of them are low on energy, some of them nearing to max out, and these infestors are really what's going to give extra life and an extra chance to win, as energy is constantly replaced on those infestors. It is essentially free resources that he doesn't need to mine. All right, do we see a siege tank there? Yes, we do. The siege tank is right in position. Are we going to start seeing some units being dropped down as well, as Locust now coming over? Yeah, the concussive slow not really going to be doing much there at all. The siege tank still blasting across the ridge, going to take down that unit there and really going to back themselves into a corner. The Zerglings all just getting destroyed there, as the siege tank does have a fair number of kills. Oh, poor Locust now making their way in. Is it going to get taken down? Nope, the Locust will just die the old-fashioned way with time life. At least two of them. Alright, now I think we're finally reached... Nope, we are not reaching a point where I can slow down. MMA now being forced to lift off and land a command center here. There is a roach there to try and stop this, though. And we are now still at one base to one base. No orbital command here. All of the orbital commands of MMA have pretty much been destroyed. Oh, a whole bunch of infested Terrans. And now coming in as a huge, huge hit from Widow Mines. Pretty much destroys all the infestors before any serious damage could be brought. MMA making sure that doesn't happen again, placing down a missile turret. Meanwhile, the Marines and the Marauders are being brought over as well. And somehow, MMA has fought his way back into this. We can see Life has now established up a new hatchery here at what I'll call the 11 o'clock position. Both sides still sitting on one mining base pretty much. This base may be done mining in just a moment. As soon as or it may start mining in just a moment. All we are waiting on is that missile turret to get completed. And once that missile turret is done, that Roach's days are pretty much numbered. There it goes. Orbital command will be landing. We can see mass infestors now on the move. Where are they gonna go? Where are they gonna look to deal damage, as well as Life does have swarm hosts for some free defense. Here we go. Zerglings now gonna perhaps try to make their way in. We can see two infestors off to the side. Could land in some good fungal growths as well, as infested Terrans are just getting destroyed. Here we have it again. Infestors. Oh, fungal growth. And now that is gonna be enough to kill off all of those Marines there. Meanwhile, a decent sized harassment force could try and take down this base here. It doesn't look that well defended, but those two Widow Mines would definitely make sure to weaken anything for the Marines to finish off. We are now going into Broodlords. We can see a murder of Broodlords on the way, and this is going to be very, very painful, as they're going to be able to fight from all the way across the cliff, and there is currently no Vikings in production at all. MMA has been forced to train up a lot more medevacs. Mutalisks are now making their way in. Not quite sure what's going on here at all. It should be contaminating the starport instead of the factory, as we are still waiting for those Broodlords. One more Broodlord may be on its way first, as we are now looking at the Zerglings getting completely destroyed. And what is going on here? It just looks like MMA is cleaning up Life. Life doesn't seem to be doing very much of anything, as we are now looking at a new hatchery being placed down. Alright, drones on their way, or medevacs on their way over, drones on their way back. One spine crawler not going to be enough, but the murder of broodlords have arrived, and we are now down to no mining bases, as we can see mass infested Terrans have made their way inside the base here. Huge play. Broodlords now going to finish off the orbital command, and Life, who looked like he was holding on for dear life just 20 minutes ago, looking to finish up the game here. MMA doing such a great job to try to hold on to any advantage, make sure that he was always trading efficiently, but it doesn't matter. 7,000 resource difference in terms of losses, but Life's army is still significantly larger and more expensive, especially with these broodlords in play as well. Supply depots will start to fall. All these Marines, what are they going to be doing? Infestor broodlord is still a very nasty combination, especially when over, what is that, 18 infestors, many of them with maximum energy, would pretty much destroy any group of Marines that try to get underneath that broodlord. No real challenge whatsoever. You can see infested Terrans being brought into play as well, as we are now looking at more and more broodlords coming down. Meanwhile, this base is going to get cleaned up here. Drones trying to do a bit of mining, not going to work. We can see a big counterforce here coming in as the SCVs are being brought out. Here we go, SCVs absorbing a bit of damage. Perhaps they will be able to start trading bases. The broodlords are slow, and the slow broodlords now getting caught out of position. Infestors, lobbing a whole bunch of infested Terrans and burrowing themselves to make sure that they are not caught. And there you go again, another fungal growth coming in. Infested Terrans now finishing off the rest of the medevacs, as you see no more resources left. Alright, army supply 104 versus 108. We are fairly even still, but it is still the amount of energy on those infestors which should be the key indicator as to who will win. Alright, there goes a couple of more Widow Mines, 138 versus 90. The infestors could land off a huge fungal growth. There's multiple fungal growths there doing huge hits. And are we going to see it? Yes, another fungal growth coming in. Alright, the Marines and the Marauders, they need to try and run. That is not a good place for them to be in, as another fungal growth does pick off even more Marines and Marauders. Now going up onto the high ground. Life could fungal growth here. Is he going to? Yes, there's the fungal growth. There's the GG. Life takes game 1 in this best of 5 series between MMA and Life. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed game 1. Please stay tuned for game 2.